Hi everyone, it's time to preview Team Finland roster for the World Junior Championship. Finland is definitely an interesting team going ahead in this tournament. Everyone kinda ruled them out, but I don't know why, cause they have a pretty solid roster. And seems to always surprise every year, so let's take a look first at their forwards. So first, we have Samuel Elenius, a 2021 NHL entry draft prospect. He's a 6'6" center and has a pretty decent total point, playing for JIP in Liga with 8 points in 18 games. With this frame and total of point, I have no doubt he will be drafted very soon in the next draft and could be an interesting player for Team Finland going into this tournament as one of the youngest players. Next, we have Roni Hirvonen, a small-sized center playing for Asat in the Liga. He was drafted in the second round last year by the Toronto Maple Leafs and has right now 9 points in 21 games with Asat. He is a pretty skilled player and could be one of Finland's most important players. Next up, we have Robbie Järventie playing for Ilves in Liga. He was drafted last year 33rd overall in the second round by the Ottawa Senators. Thus far, he already have 14 points in 19 games in the Liga. He already seems like a total steal by the Senators. With his 6'3" frame and good hands, he could be a very good player in the NHL down the line and be one of the most important players for Finland coming from nowhere. Next, we have right winger Benjamin Koronen playing for Kalpa in the Liga. He currently has 2 assists in 9 games thus far for them. Next, one of the players I'll be most looking to is Brad Lambert playing for JIP in Liga. He will be eligible for the 2022 NHL entry draft and already has 7 points in 18 games in the Liga, and he just turned 17 a couple days ago. I have no doubt he will be in the top 5 for the 2022 draft and could already help Finland go far this year, as his offensive instincts are already pretty strong. Next, we have the captain of Team Finland, Anton Lundell, who is currently playing for HIFK in the Liga and was drafted 12th overall by the Florida Panthers last year. He currently has 20 points in 17 games in the Liga, and he actually played 2 years ago in the World Junior Championship as a 16 years old and had 4 points in 7 games, but last year he missed the 2020 World Championship because of an injury. He will be heavily relied on for Team Finland and will be their best forward and most important leader. His two-way game is very strong and his offensive skills are also very strong. He is a very complete player and he will be, in my opinion, one of the best two-way players in the NHL down the line. Next, we have center Matias Mantekivi playing for Sapa in the Liga. He currently has 4 points in 17 games for them. He was drafted in 2019 in the 6th round by the Boston Bruins. Next, we have Henri Nikkanen playing for Jukurit in the Liga. He currently has 7 points in 15 games and was drafted also in 2019 in the 4th round by the Winnipeg Jets. Next up, we have right winger Mikko Petman playing for Lukko in the Liga. He has 4 points in 19 games this year and wasn't drafted. Next, we have Petteri Puaka, who is playing for Tuto Hockey in the Mestis League, the second league in Finland, where he has 8 points in 7 games, and he played 2 games for Tappara in the Liga and has 1 goal. Next, we have Mikael Pitia, who is playing for the TPS U20 League in the U20 SM Sarja in Finland, who has 19 points in 16 games and also played 2 games in Liga with TPS where he had no points. He He was drafted last year in the 4th round by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Next up, we have 6'3" center Juuso Parsinen, who is playing for TPS in the Liga. He currently has 12 points in 18 games. He was drafted in the 7th round by the Nashville Predators back in 2019. I think he could be a pretty important piece for Finland, as he have a pretty good total points in the Liga. Next up, we have Aku Ratu from the Karpat in the Liga. Not to be confused with Aatu Räty, his brother, a NHL prospect for next year's draft, who just missed the cut for Team Finland. But Aku for Karpat this year, he played 4 games and had no points. Last year, in the World Juniors, he got 3 points in 7 games. He was drafted in 2019 in the 5th round by the Arizona Coyotes. He's a pretty good, hard-working forward and will be one of Finland's most important forward. Next up, we have Kasper Simonteval, who is playing for Tappara in the Liga. He has 1 point in 7 games for Tappara, and also played in the Mestis League, the 2nd league in Finland, and has 7 points in 5 games for Tuto Hockey. He was drafted this year in the 3rd round by the Los Angeles Kings, and he's a pretty hard-working forward and has a great shot. Now, starting at defense, we have Santeri Ataka, who is playing for Ilves in the Liga. He had 3 points in 19 games for Ilves. He also played last year in the World Juniors and had 1 point in 7 games. He was drafted back in 2019 in the 6th round by the San Jose Sharks. He will probably be one of Finland's most studied defensemen. Next, we have Ville Anola from the Winnipeg Jets in the NHL. He played last year for the Winnipeg Jets and had 5 points in 8 games, and is the only player on Team Finland that has NHL experience. He also played 2 years ago for Team Finland and had 2 points in 5 games, and last year he had 5 points in 7 games. He is currently in loan in the Liga playing for Lukko and has 14 points in 19 games, but will probably rejoin the Jets organization when the NHL will restart. Next, we have Mikko Kokkonen from Jukurit in the Liga. He was drafted in 2019, third in the 3rd round by the Toronto Maple Leafs. He played last year in the World Juniors and had 2 goals in 7 games. This year, with Jukurit, he had 3 assists in 18 games. He will probably be one of Finland's most important defensemen heading into this tournament. Next is Topi Niemela, also a draft pick by the Toronto Maple Leafs last year in the 3rd round. He is currently playing for Karpat in the Liga and has 3 assists in 9 games. And in the U20, he played 6 games and had 4 points. He is a pretty good mobile defenseman. Next is Kasper Piotto from Karpat in the Liga. He has 1 goal in 8 games with Karpat. He was drafted in the 5th round in 2020 by the Florida Panthers. He was actually the first selection in the 2019 CHL import draft by the Swift Current Broncos. Next is Ruben Rafkin from TPS in Liga. He has 3 points in 10 games thus far for TPS, and he's a pretty good puck-moving defenseman and likes the physical play. Next up, it's Matias Rajaniemi from the Pelicans in the Liga. He currently has 2 assists in 18 games and was drafted in the 6th round in 2020. He's a tough customer along the boards with his 6'4" frame. Next is Emil Viro from TPS in Liga. He currently has 6 points in 16 games and was drafted last year in the 3rd round by the Detroit Red Wings. He's a pretty complete defenseman and will probably be an important piece for Finland. Now for the goalies, we have Joel Blomqvist from Karpat in the Liga. He only played 2 games for Karpat but had a .914 save percentage, and in the Mestis League with Hermes, he got a 908 save percentage. He was drafted last year in the second round by the Pittsburgh Penguins. If I had to guess, I would say he's probably the starter for Team Finland, and a good one. The next goalie is Kari Pironen from Tuto Hockey in the Mestis Hockey League. He currently have a good 924 save percentage in 40 games for Tuto. He played one game last year for Finland and had a good 955 save percentage. He could steal the spot for the top goalie for Finland. Now, last goalie is Roope Taponen, playing for Kiko Espoo in the Mestis Hockey League. He currently have a 928 save percentage in 10 games, and could be a surprise in net. So, what do you think about this Finland team? In my opinion, they are a very underrated team and could win it all. With Lundell, Järventie, and Ainola, they could go very far, as they are all very strong and underrated players going ahead in this tournament. They also have a lot of Liga experience, one of the best professional league in the world, and overall, just a good depth team with good goalies in Blomqvist or Pironen. So next team will be about Team Germany, so stay tuned.